We'll be nice to them if they be nice to us. We'll be nice to them if they be nice to us.
There's no promise you can make that I can trust. But we'll hold you to your word.
Yes. Under pressure. Under precious.
Hey, welcome back, guys. It's Eric from the Ancient of Days, but likely we are right now on my backup channel as well as BitChute tonight. So all the links are in the description box. Please go ahead and subscribe. If we take a look here, I'm sorry I have to do this every time, guys, but you know, I'm a small channel. I'm growing by the day. I am going to be putting more videos in private. I put 5 more videos in private this morning because I went and published a video onto my new channel that's already been published, and it got pulled before the alerts even got out. So I put 5 more videos in private. I'm going to put another 5 or so into private. That way there's no way possible they can give me a community guideline strike. We're going to address a very interesting concept because even I myself have been calling the typical people within the world that we have to interact with as non-player characters, NPCs. But in truth, we can look at this at a whole different perspective. Let me give you some testimony as to what happened yesterday real briefly. I went to see the APRN that I had gotten into a very strong argument with just 2 months ago, and he was so angry with me that he actually left a red flag in my file that I was bullying and argumentative, and that's because I was in a bad mood. I had such severe headaches and they weren't being addressed, and it had been going on 6 months that I had been asking for this bilateral lumbar epidural, and nothing was being done about it. So we got into an argument about some medications, and then when I went in there yesterday, or the day before, it was on the 8th, rather, today's the 10th, it was on the 8th, he had a chip on his shoulder, but as soon as I walked in, and then was in a totally loving, polite mood, I was like, how you doing? Thank you, good to see you. I apologized about the previous appointment, and I told him that the new headache medication that the doctor had given me a sample for was working, and I couldn't believe it. It was like a miracle, because all the medications I'd been on before never worked, and it was him that had decided to try the injection, the lumbar epidural, at the L4, L5 level. So I gave him credit on that, and I said, you made the correct call because the injection actually worked. I have not had a successful lumbar epidural in over 3 years. So he did choose the right level based on the previous MRI that I had more than 5 years ago. So after that, and then we talked about the headache medications, he was in a very loving, kind mood. And then we had a great meeting and talked about the various issues that I was having and how he was actually looking forward to helping me. He then proceeded to give me $2,400 more of free medication. These injectables are $800 per pen. It's like an EpiPen. You take one once a month. I have now received 3 free ones at $800 a piece. So these people are not just non-player characters. That's where I now stand corrected. They are actually golems of the construct. They are inhabited by what the Gnostics would call the archons, and what Paul, through Ephesians 6, would call powers and principalities. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. So they're both correct, because again, in Islam they would be called the jinn. Let's get started with the presentation. So right here we're going to look at the legend of the Golem of Prague. Alright, and we're also going to take a look at some predictive programming through the movie Warcraft, and we're also going to look at Wikipedia, what exactly is a golem, because we talk about the NPCs as being those in the world that they just kind of give you like a programmed response, right? Well, that's the way we look at them, and that's kind of a condescending way to look at the situation, because believe it or not, they do have a brain and there's more depth to them. And even though they are guardians of the construct, okay, they're obedient slaves to the system, and they will be willing to turn you in if that's what it takes. Because what does it mean to be evacuated? When you are evacuated, as our Messiah has tells us, that yes, when the demons are cast out of a man and they find the house swept and clean, then they will return with 7 more demons more wicked than themselves, and the state of the man will be worse afterward than he was prior. Well, I can testify to that because I went through a couple of years, so maybe actually more like 4 years probably, of a very, very, very difficult time when I had some addiction issues coming out of the underground rave scene, and I was clean for some time, and then I fell off the wagon and I went into partying again. And this time, the addiction took control of me, where before I was able to put it down. But this time, when I came around the second time, the state of me was worse off, because the addiction then became a true addiction where I felt like I could not function daily without the drug. So the state of me was worse off than it was beforehand, and it took a tremendous amount of strength and a tremendous amount of faith to overcome that time. That was a very difficult time in my life. So now let's take a look at the legend of the Golem of Prague. Great men were once able to perform great miracles, begins the short story of the Golem, written by author I.L. Peretz in 1890. In his narrative, Peretz retells the best-known version of the Golem legend, which takes place in Prague, and revolves around the studies of Rabbi Lowe. The rabbi performs the great miracle of bringing a clay golem to life. Okay, so it has to be made out of clay or dust, just like they did in a garden, by placing a magic word, the Shem, in its mouth. Once brought to life, the golem is strong and protects the Jewish ghetto. It also performs all sorts of physical labor for its creator, so it becomes an obedient servant, an obedient slave to the creator of the Golem. Here's an artist's rendition of the Golem of Prague. But one day the Golem flies in a rage, smashing buildings, flinging boulders, and uprooting trees. Rabbi Lowe's pulls the Shem out of the Golem's mouth, and the creature falls to the ground, dissolving into dust. Frightened by this turn of events, the rabbi resolves never again to create such a dangerous servant. So, yes, these Golems are just obedient servants to those who created it. To this day, the dusty remains of the Golem are said to be located in the closed-off attic of the Old New Synagogue in Prague. Again, here's an artist rendition of it. The artist Leonora Carrington created a number of surrealist works with a recurring motif of Rabbi Lowe bathing as he contemplates his creation of the artificial life. So, artificial life reminds me of artificial intelligence and the artificial spirit. Right here we have the interior of the Old New Synagogue. What an oxymoron that is. Photographed by so-and-so around 1900 by Faustin Kachin Collection. Rabbi Lowe's grave photographed by Zygmunt Rake around 1900. Faustin Kachin Collection. Okay, these are all the Faustin Kachin Collection. Amazing pictures, right? This one here, the last one, the Jewish Town Hall, photographed by Zygmunt Rake around 1900, Faustin Kachin Collection. All of these are right here during Rabbi Lowe's lifetime. Rudolph II, 1552 to 1612, sat enthroned in Prague. In this painted portrait, Arcimboldo immortalized his benefactor as a Roman god Vertumnus, with his face composed of various vegetables, fruits, and plants. Okay, look at this. This is actually pretty amazing, to be honest. I mean, that's pretty fantastic to do that with fruits and all that, you know, but of course it's a drawing, so we have to question everything according to my humble opinion, my friends. So before we get into Wikipedia and what golems are according to the NPCs that we like to call those in the world, by coming at it from that perspective that the people in the world out here are just brain dead, they're dead people walking, and they're just non-player characters, it's going to make it a much harder path for us to walk through this New World Order agenda that's being rolled out right before us, okay? It's going to be a very bumpy road no matter how we look at it. But these golems that are in the system, despite they're here to protect the construct, just like in Lord of the Rings, Gollum, Schmeagol, didn't turn on Frodo until the very, very end of the mission they were on, which was to destroy the ring. So, if you can use the golems here in this system that we call non-player characters to get in a further position to maybe even get you to safety, because you can amputate them anytime you want. You don't have to stay with them. Take what you can from them and let them help you get as far as you can by sinking down to their level, having compassion for their aperture, their personal reality bubble. If you could come down to their personal reality bubble, then they will be happy to help you. But if you come at them barking and telling them they're enforcing unjust laws and they're liars and they're mind controlled, then they will shut you out and they will default to the archons and the demons that will take charge and then come down on you like a hammer hitting a nail. That's exactly what will happen. So they are either here to help or to hurt us, depending on how we treat them and approach them. Let's look here from the movie Warcraft from 2016. I was introduced to golems back then. Okay, there was this priest that went evil, turned to the other side, was opening up portals to bring these orcs in to take over their earth. This here, doesn't this right here? Oh my gosh, talk about symbolism. You got the eye right here, the all-seeing eye. Then right here, it looks like you got the mecha square. Oh my gosh, I mean, it couldn't be any more blatantly obvious. Right here, there's the mecha square. There's the all-seeing eye. One last time, I'm going to back it out and show you the mecha square. And of course, you know, we know the all-seeing eye. So let's listen here. And believe it or not, guys, the guy that was Ragnar Lothbrok from Vikings is in this. I was surprised when I saw that. Now, this is where the golem comes to life. The priest here takes on a very ugly form. That's a metaphor to show the manifestation of the demonic archetype and the archons, if you're referring to the Gnostic texts, as to how they look once they inhabit the host. But actually they look human, so you can't see them except on the internal. This is what they would look like. Now let's watch.
Very impressive. Now try shutting him up.
Here's the golem. He created this golem out of clay. It was inanimate, it had no motion whatsoever, and then it was filled with magic through the demons and spirits that inhabited this thing, the devils and the archons. It then became an obedient slave to its master, which in this case was the wizard that turned evil. Let's watch this for a few minutes for entertainment.
Well, that went well.
Right here, Ragnar Lothbrok from the show Vikings. Let's watch.
Well, that went well. It's moving! Do something! Fine. I'll handle this. You take care of it, team. Hey, over here! Clayface!
Okay, again, this is the golem that came to life. It was just a clay object that came to life, and it was powered by magic, and it was also powered by the evil spirits that inhabit it. Of course, look at the one-eyed symbolism all over the place. This movie was loaded with symbolism. Let's continue to watch for one more moment here. This here's the evil wizard that he was actually a good wizard, was actually best friends with the guy who's Ragnar Lothbrok from Vikings, but they wanted to do an outward manifestation of how evil he had become. And this is the one who created the golem, so it's obedient to him alone. We'll finish it out now. Okay, so the guy who's Ragnar Lothbrok in this movie, he killed the golem by taking off its clay head, is what he did. I just wanted to show you that for entertainment, how they even show these in the movies. Now here's the golem from Wikipedia, okay, because these are shown through Marina Abramovic. Here, let's take a quick look and a listen, because she talks about spirit cooking, and the golems that she shows are the real ones that they use through black magic. Let's listen real briefly, and then we'll do the Wikipedia.
And I have lots of work with the spirit cooking recipes, which I actually create my own recipes for spirit cooking, which is uneatable, and I made them as a graffitis on the wall using pig blood as the closest to the human blood. One of the spirit cooking recipe will be with a sharp knife, cut deeply into the finger of your hand. Eat the pain.
Right there is the golem, okay? You'll see her maybe throwing some blood on it. I don't know if they'll show it in this video, but that's the golem, okay? It gets inhabited by dark energies, dark spirits, powers and principalities, according to Paul in Ephesians 6, or in the Gnostic text, the archons again. If you were a Muslim, they would be the jinn.
Or another will be, in time of doubt, keep small meteorite stone in your mouth. Or my favorite will be, take 11 leaves of fresh green cabbage, mix with the 13,000 grams of pure jealousy, cook in iron pot till the all water evaporates, and eat it just before attack. Or mix breast milk with the sperm milk, drink it on earthquake nights. And so
Right there's the golem again. Okay, of course she throws blood all over it. If you guys haven't seen the ritual before, it doesn't look like we'll be able to see it. So yeah, that's Marina Abramovic, very popular occultist and witch. And now here's the modern day golems. Okay, even though the governor has lifted the mandates, you're not required to wear masks anywhere, you still see people wearing them all over the place, okay? In the stores, wherever you go, you're going to see people wearing them. And that's because they've been predictive mind controlled. See? And they're also showing pregnant women getting the vaccine. Wow, pretty incredible. Alright, so the people that are protecting the construct and calling us crazy and blaming everything on people like you and I for not going along with the one world technocracy agenda and granting our consent to an entity that has nothing good in store for those that are proclaiming peace and security and safety. We don't have to turn this into an entire Hegelian dialectic situation. We can go ahead and treat these people with respect, come down to their personal reality bubble. Despite they are evacuated in the spirit, all they have is their carnal mind. But when you say the right things, you don't have to lie. Just be a salesman. Be a good person. Love them as you would yourself. And bring them something that they have never felt, which is true light and love, without even having to mention the word the Messiah or God. They will feel it. Okay? They'll feel it within them. Now, there's some people that are so far gone, there's nothing you can do. But many of them will be happy to help you. They are just part of the construct or the metaverse, because we have transcended so far with the AI technology through all of this terraforming of this world that we are partially within the metaverse. Alright, so yes, they are more like golems rather than non-player characters. That oversimplifies it, and it is also degrading to their character. We don't need to do that. We don't need to sink to their level. We need to treat them with respect and come down to their aperture, which is their personal lens to this construct. Everybody has a reality bubble. They may believe that what they're doing is righteous because they are following the directives given to them. That is because they have abandoned themselves. They are now filled with the demons and the archons. That is their spirit. That's what their spirit generates as the truth. But they do have a mind. They have a carnal mind. And every carnal mind wants to have respect and be treated accordingly. So if we love them as we love our neighbors and just apply the simple basic laws and instructions of our Messiah, even to those that are against us, then your lives will be made easier rather than mocking them. And I speak that from experience again because the APRN gave me $2,400 worth of medication based on just turning around from being angry and confrontational to being in agreement and full surrender to the Father. On that, my friends, I look forward to seeing you guys real soon. I'll be on Crater Earth USA tomorrow talking about this exact topic, how the NPCs I feel are golems. At 2 o'clock tomorrow, I'll be on Crater Earth USA for a phone call, probably for a half hour, talking about this exact topic, and it'll be more fun because we're going to have a back and forth and a discussion, and we'll get into the NPC golem archetype is what it's going to be, the comparison between the two, and we'll have a fun time talking about it. So I look forward to seeing you guys real soon. Take care and God bless. Much love.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day,